Does the end of the season get any more intense than this for Arsenal fans? We're playing a massive top of the table-ish clash in the Premier League against Chelsea and then a Europa League semi-final against Tottenham. Hello and welcome to part 10 of Gunning for Glory. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we have the aforementioned matches away against Chelsea in the Premier League. It's not really a top of the table clash with 4 games to go. We're still 5 points behind Man United who are top of the league, but we are only 4 points behind Chelsea in second, and a second place finish should be enough to keep me in a job. Remember, the board are expecting us to win the league. It's not going to happen at this point unless we beat Chelsea and both they and Man United go on to crumble, but that's probably not going to happen. So the bigger thing for us, the opportunity to win something this season, comes from the Europa League, and we've drawn local rivals Tottenham in the semi-final, and the other semi-final is Everton against Lyon. I think our toughest test is going to be this semi-final. If we can get past Spurs, we should win this tournament. But it's going to be a tough ask to get past Spurs, even though they're only 8th down in... I mean, it's local derbies, isn't it? Form goes out the window and all that stuff. We did win the one game since you were last with me. It was against Stoke. Fairly straightforward victory. But now we have to take on Chelsea. And this is the team that I've selected to do exactly that. And it's a familiar looking team. This is pretty much our first choice 11 at this point. We've got Cech in goal, a back four of Monreal, Koscielny, Mustafi and Bellerin, El Neni and Wilshere in midfield, with Welbeck up front and Sanchez, Ozil and Lamar in behind him. It means Christensen, Ramsey, Giroud, they all drop down to the bench. I've actually got Reece Nelson on the bench today rather than Asensio because we've played him a couple of times in cup competitions and he's scored a couple of goals. He's a bit special. I know him from my non-league to legend save this year where he went on to play 150 games for England, or even more than that. By the time that save ended, he was still the most capped England player in the game. He's 17. He's wanted on loan by Brentford, and I need to be making a decision whether we let him go out on loan next season or whether we keep him to compete for places. And Asensio's not really done anything special. And looking at current ability as a right midfielder, he's almost as good as Asensio, Lamar, Ozil, Welbeck. If we look at him as a left midfielder, he's almost as good as Asensio, Ozil, Lamar. Even as a striker, okay, as a striker, he's not any good. But there's a chance he could be forcing his way into the right-hand side of our midfield for next season, especially if Ozil and Sanchez go. So we need to get him on the bench, give him a little bit of game time. Theo Walcott's there as well, just because, I don't know. I'm trying to remind people we've got him so someone perhaps comes to buy him. Let's get into this Chelsea game though. We are sticking to our normal control and fluid system as well. There's been a lot of call in the comments to switch that up occasionally, and I'm kind of ignoring it. I know it's something we probably need to look into doing, but when we've got this far in the season playing the way we're playing, it seems silly to mix things up now, and there's still a chance that we might just turn things around. I know that's pretty similar to how Chelsea play in real life, but it does just look like a silly formation. But I imagine they'll beat us because in every save that I've had this year, Conte has still been at Chelsea 10 years in and they've been really successful. Apart from non-league to legend, where I think presumably he would have been there, but must have got sacked fairly early on because it was Man United dominating under Mourinho for a long time. Cech with a good save, and it's cleared to Alexis. Now, I would assume we should... I wish that plane would stop circling over above my house. Goodness me. Don't ever live near an RAF base. It's not recommended if you want to record YouTube videos in your garage. What a noisy aeroplane. What was I saying? We should be able to dominate wide areas today because they've only got the wing-backs out there. Now, they need to be giving Chelsea their attacking width, which means our attacking players shouldn't have anybody on them. And there you go. There's Alexis picking up his 17th goal of the season. It's an absolute screamer. And Alexis and Lamar should be getting a lot of space to play in today because you would expect Monreal and Bellerin to be able to take care of, Alonso and Azpilicueta? Is that who they had wide? Is Azpilicueta a person, or have I made that up? I need to check now so that I don't look like a complete idiot. Let's assume that is a person who exists. I'm not a Chelsea fan. What would I know? But our fullbacks should be able to take care of their fullbacks, and then we just have to hope that the two attacking midfielders are sort of taken care of by our midfield. And I mean, I know they're potentially controlling the middle, and we're controlling out wide, and we just need to hopefully do better than they do. and 2-0 up after half an hour is a great way to do that. And again, it's coming from width. Bellerin, a lot of space out wide, finds Ozil, who's a man over in the middle, because we've got 4 attackers, they've only got 3 defenders. And yet again, little bit of space, time to shoot, and it's very similar to the Sanchez goal. Now Lamar with the free kick, and Koscielny makes it 3-0 after 35 minutes. Can we play you every week, Chelsea? Goodness me. How come more teams don't use this silly tactic that they're using? And how come they're second in the league playing such an exploitable system? Is it just because against most teams they're just better than them and it doesn't really matter? Welbeck now. And again, we've got a man in space in the middle, and there he is, 4-0. We are absolutely all over Chelsea. Their 3 defenders cannot cope with our 4 attackers. And it's just, I mean, I was expecting it to go across to Ozil, who was here. But in the end, it played short to Wilshere, who's made a run from midfield. And even Jack Wilshere is making Chelsea look poor at this point. So that should give you some context about how much we can expose the flaws in this Chelsea system. 4-0 at half-time, and one of the best players on the pitch is Jack Wilshere. That'll do nicely. Right, Alexis to Wilshere, Welbeck, Lamar. Bellerin in acres of space, takes on his man but can't find Welbeck in the middle. And one of the other reasons we've got Jack Wilshere in the team is because when we've played him in local derbies this season, we've won them. When we've not played him, we haven't won them. And we get that media report that says you don't have any of your homegrown players in your team. Oh, that's a bit of a problem. Welbeck picking up an injury, we'll get Giroud on. We've still got Lacazette knocking around. He just doesn't even get on the bench for me at the moment. But if Welbeck's injured, we might have to try the Lacazette experiment again. We'll take off El Neni and bring on Ramsey. But as I was saying about Wilshere, whenever we don't play him in these local matches, we get criticised for not having any homegrown players. So I'm thinking big match against local rivals Chelsea, and then 2 massive matches against our biggest rivals Tottenham. We're going to need Jack Wilshere in the team. Not necessarily because he's better than Aaron Ramsey or better than Xhaka or whoever else we could be playing in that midfield, but just because he's the only homegrown player we've got. And that seems to make a difference. Right, 4-0 up, 10 minutes to go. Let's give Reece Nelson his Premier League debut. In the FA Cup, he scored 2 goals playing on that inside forward, right side of midfield position. The little meter thing reckons he can't do it properly, but the FA Cup form suggests differently. Alexis just into the arms of Courtois. I want to see Nelson get on the ball and have a little look at him. We also need to get that stupid number 72 off him before next season if we're going to start using him a little bit more. Because what a stupid number that is. It's almost as bad as having a goalkeeper wearing the number 2. Right, Wilshere to Monreal. Ramsey, look at all the space we've got out wide, and there's Nelson in a lot of space. Can he beat his man? He beat 2 or 3 of them, but then the final whistle went. And we've just absolutely thumped Chelsea. They should be out of the title race at this point because we've smashed them. Their confidence should be destroyed. And as it stands, we are only 2 points behind Man United with 3 games to go. But obviously they have a game in hand. We're now relying on them messing up and Chelsea capitulating and us winning 3 games on the bounce. It is still it's really unlikely, but there is still a possibility with 3 games to go that we could win the Premier League. But priority number 1 at the moment is still Europa League and dealing with Tottenham, which we're going to try and do now. Right, we have selection issues ahead of this game against Tottenham. Bellerin suspended. So Christensen comes back in at centre-back. Mustafi moves out to right-back. Alexis Sanchez has a dead leg. He's passed the fitness test, but only for 45 minutes. I've pondered this. We're going to use him for the first 45 minutes and try and remember to take him off at half-time. And Danny Welbeck is injured. Is he? Oh, he's not fit enough. So he was injured. He got injured in the last game, but not fit enough. So we've taken him out of the squad completely because we don't need to carry an injured player or an unfit player when we've got Lacazette who can just come in. Asensio comes onto the bench as well because Reece Nelson has picked up an injury. He's going to be out for the next 3 weeks with a hamstring thing of some kind. And as explained previously, Jack Wilshere is going to start in a European semi-final, despite the fact that all these Arsenal fans don't seem to like him, but he's not actually let us down in the game ever, really. And we need him for these rivals matches. Coquelin, he's just never going to get in the team. He's another one. We'll probably try and move on in the summer. We didn't have a proper look at that Spurs team. That's interesting that they're playing Dele Alli so deep. Is that something they do in real life now? That seems a bit mad. Also playing a centre-back out at right-back. So Alexis has got 45 minutes to try and exploit that. But he's not fit, so, maybe. Already down to... I mean, it is a big risk playing him when he's not fit, because we obviously risk injuring him even more, and he is massively important and in great form at the moment. But at the same time, we can't really not play him. Right, Wilshere to Monreal. This is where we're going to grab a goal. El Neni out to Monreal, who crosses, and it sort of bounces back off Alexis, but we do get another go at it. It just comes to Christensen, and we build again from the back. This time, Lamar out on the right-hand side, and there's Jack Wilshere letting us down as Dyer gets in first and dispossesses the ball from him. I knew it would happen as soon as I mentioned he didn't let us down, but it hasn't led to a goal yet. But remember, this still stems from Jack Wilshere losing the ball in midfield, and there is Jack Wilshere letting us down as promised. We're going to blame the whole lot on him, which is a bit harsh because there was plenty of opportunities to win the ball back after he gave it away in midfield. But that is a bit of a problem because we've just conceded an away goal in the Europa League semi-final against Spurs. So, as usual, if we manage to get through this, we'll have been making it hard for ourselves. And if they score again here, the tie is all but over. And we just need to forget the Europa League and concentrate on trying to win the Premier League, which I haven't even looked to see how Man United got on with their game in hand. There's a chance they lost it, in which case we should have put the reserves out in this game, forgotten about the Europa League entirely, and just gone for it in the Premier League. As it is, we're just trying to play our strongest team in every game, which is crazy talk for a Premier League manager. But I come from the lower leagues. That's how we roll down in the lower leagues. Right. Oh, why is Alexis still on the pitch? You lot were supposed to remind me to take him off. We're going to break the man. Right. Asensio on. That's the main reason Asensio's back on the bench. Because, seeing Alexis getting involved in a 50-50 as well, that's a massive risk. Just get off now, Alexis. We need you for Huddersfield at the weekend. And hopefully Asensio can have a coming-of-age game here in the semi-final of the Europa League. I mean, he might be more suited to European football. You never know. He's struggled to adapt to the Premier League so far, but he might... But, Kev, remember you're playing against the Premier League team, you idiot. Oh, yeah. I remember now. Right. Take off Giroud, bring on Lacazette. I mean, things are getting desperate when we bring Lacazette on because he's been an absolute... What's happened to Ozil? Oh, he's taken a knock and he's got back up. But Lacazette has been an absolute nothing player for us, which is a massive problem. Right. Did I not have Theo Walcott on the bench today? I would have quite liked to bring him on now. I don't want to stick Ramsey on there. Let's bring Callum Chambers on at right back. There you go. We've got Mustafi's on a yellow card, not playing well. I would have liked to have brought Walcott on, moved Asensio into the Ozil position and had Walcott out on the wing for 10 minutes, but apparently I don't pick my substitutes still, even now. In fact, I did tweak them. I put the assistant manager didn't even put Asensio on the bench, so I did tweak that. But even so, we've lost to Spurs. And now we've got an awful lot of work to do. And look, 2 strikers who can't score goals. Again, sell them. But I'm just going to sell all the strikers in the summer. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.